There we are. And here we are. Let's see. Everything working, I think. Yes, I think everything's working. Cool. It's been a crazy week, guys. Crazy couple of weeks. Um, just madness in the HHS, madness on the news. Sound up a bit, okay. Let me know if anything's not sounding right. But yeah, been a stupid couple of weeks. I, it's been you know what? One thing that really is annoying is that Trump was like, "Oh, you see the size of a vaccine? It's like the size of a bottle of soda," and everyone's like, What is he talking about?" He's been saying this like same thing for years. Does anyone remember the 2016 Republican candidate debates when he was like, "Oh, you bring out a vaccine for these babies and it looks like something made for a horse," and it's like, what is he talking about? Does he has there is no way he's ever seen a real vaccine, and he's like the president. It's just madness. Anyway, we're here. I've been making some reels for Facebook and Instagram and some shorts for YouTube, mostly addressing like the recent Fauci stuff and the recent, yeah, I guess it's a lot of Fauci stuff. Uh, a lot of influencers are trying to like get on the bandwagon of talking about Fauci now that they think they're vindicated. They're just rehashing like old dumb stuff that was said years ago. You think my introduction lady needs to turn off her mic? What introduction lady? Do I have an introduction lady? That's news to me. And yes, he took COVID vaccines. Like he got vaccinated. By all accounts, he took the vaccine. Um, so I don't know what the hell he's talking about when he's like, vaccines are so giant, look like they're meant for a horse soda bottle. Like, I truly have no idea what's going on in that orange shriveled little mind of his. But we're live on the Discord too. I have the channel open. The link, let me share it in the chat here. 1 second. Once I figure out how to share it. I literally just did it. Anyway, the channel's open and anyone can come up and join. Anyone can speak. You can talk about whatever, really. We don't have to debate. We can chat. Can talk about life, frustrations, science. Okay, copy link. I found it. I can multitask, I swear. All right, there's the link for anybody who wants to join the Discord. I just posted it in the YouTube chat. Honest science communicators are few and far between now. Yeah. I would always say there's not enough of us. I mean, there's definitely more now than like ever before. But yeah, there needs to be more. There needs to be more. And not everybody is I guess not all the science communicators are great. I honestly couldn't name like bad ones. If you have ones you think are bad, let me know. I'm curious. But like, yeah, I know that like there's a lot of short form science communicators who are very good at what they do, and they're in different fields. Um, and but yeah, there needs to be more. Particularly, there needs to be more willing to. Well, I think there needs to be like a central community for science communicators, and for like decades, it's been it's been the Center for Skeptical Inquiry, CSI. Um, that's like the organization that James Randi was a part of. Bill Nye's a part of it, um, and it's kind of like I went for the first time this past year, and I talked to a reporter who wrote an article about it, and one point she made was it's getting old. Like a lot of the demographic is looks like retired professors. There's not a lot of younger people participating in the conferences at least. So it's like who is this for? And I totally agree with that. There needs to be more young people. There needs to be more new people coming into the community, and that's not happening right now. And I don't know how to fix it. But I wish other science communicators that are big in short form content or long form content would all get together and like have a central community. And CSI already exists, so to me it makes sense to just like keep that going. Anyway, this is the third time I've done this, and we haven't had any anti-vaxxers come up, and I doubt that'll change today. But I'll hang out here for at least an hour, hour and a half before I have to go walk my dog and then get my kids and start the weekend, which is not really a break anymore with kids. It's more work. It's not the same anymore, but it's fine. I see Linnea's in the Discord. Feel free to speak if you want. Fauci hearing triggered the convoy people here in Canada.
Oopsies.
Hello.
Hi. Ooh,
Hey, how
you
you
were
doing?
talking about Canada and the convoy people.
Yeah, what was my memory of that was that a lot of the like trucker convoy were not actual truckers. Um,
No. Yeah,
you
they were all just anti-vaxxers,
yeah.
essentially. Which is like kind of what I wanted to talk about anyways.
Oh yeah.
Why is it that like the far right, like that anti-vaxxer or like the kind of, a far right ideology is very susceptible to being an anti-vaxxer?
Oh, well it used to be a more of a left-leaning thing to be an anti-vaxxer. Like, the
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, like crunchy families out in California would be like the hippie anti-vaxxers. That used to be the case like back when I was learning about the anti-vaccine community.
Yeah.
And but now, yeah, it's mostly associated with right wing, and I think the only way I can make sense of it is, and I'm no like sociologist or political science expert, but the way I make sense of it is it just got hyper politicized during the Trump administration, which, you know, I think a lot of people, including him, probably see COVID as something that sunk his reelection chances. And so there's all this like propaganda and political political nonsense to try and make it look like he didn't do as bad of a job as he did, which is but then it gets weird because it's like he did his administration did fund Operation Warp Speed, funded
Yeah.
which funded the vaccines. And
Mm.
he has said multiple times like COVID vaccines are great, they're perfect, they're brilliant. And yet there was this big right wing push to be like, no, COVID's not that bad, and vaccines are bad too. Um, and it really, I think, I guess, I mean, during Biden's administration is when most of the vaccine rollout happened, right? Like
Yeah.
the they started rolling out in like January 2021, and
Mhm.
then Biden was inaugurated in that same month. So then,
Mhm.
like, most of the vaccine rollout was during Biden, and that's when a lot of the vaccine mandates happened. And I
Yeah.
think the mandates is what really pissed a lot of right wing people off
It
because,
it did, because even then too, because like going back to the convoy, because they genuinely believe that they were like fighting a war. Like
yeah,
they thought, and like I know there was some anti-vaxxer I know, they posted like the Bugs Life meme, like it's like, well, what do you think Bugs Life is? Anyways, it's very lefty for sure.
mm-hmm,
But he was like, yeah, because we rose up and because of us, you don't have to wear masks and there's no like vaccine mandates anymore. And they genuinely believe that they fought and they rose up and they went and they honked their horns and they shut down Ottawa, for example, here in or at the Coots border
mm-hmm,
between in Alberta. We have a lot of anti-vaxxers here,
mm,
and they genuinely believe that because of them, we don't have to wear masks anymore, and they'll get angry if they see somebody wearing a mask because they're
mm-hmm.
like, well, but we stood up, we fought for your freedom, which is bizarre, but that's like the mentality they have. It's so weird.
Yeah. I mean, I think it really was like the mandates and the like, you have to wear a mask and
Yeah.
infringing on my freedoms kind of thing that really helped push it to like right wing slash libertarian circles. I remember back when I was on Twitter and we would do spaces debating anti vaxxers, they would always, you know, their claims would get smacked down, but and it would always come back to like, well, they shouldn't have mandated it. You can't force people to take vaccines, and it just it always went back to that. So it was clearly a sticking point for them. And the history of vaccine mandates is, I think, puts it in an interesting perspective because I mean, like, if they think this is bad, where it's like, hey, if you want to like do things in public, and if you want to like, and like if you want to go to your place of employment, which your employers control, like, hey guys, if you want to all come together, we gotta get this vaccine to help keep
Yeah.
everybody healthy. And if they think that's bad and that's tyranny, like during the smallpox vaccine campaigns, like they'd be kicking down doors. They'd be like bringing police officers and just force vaccinating people. Like
Yeah.
it's nothing
It's
compared
truly,
compared to that.
it truly, truly isn't. And the lack of curiosity too, like, oh my God. Because I noticed the truth is so much more interesting than the conspiracy behind it.
It always is. It always is, I think.
like, even the origins of COVID, like
Hmm.
way more interesting than lab, oh my God, lab theory leak, or like even like 9/11. Like the truth, like kind of like the more plausible truth of 9/11 is so much more interesting than like it was an inside job and
Yeah, it is. I mean, I I used to. I mean, I obviously used to believe 9/11 was an inside job, but like,
which I wanted, yeah,
it's like when you're at the surface, it's more interesting. It's like, oh man, there's this like secretive web of Illuminati type groups that are controlling things, but the truth is like, it's like no, like we've been messing stuff up in the Middle East for a while, and
yep,
there's like a long history of politics behind that I never really learned in depth, but it's there and it's definitely more interesting than just the conspiracy. And then these guys just like were able to get past all of these security systems and do something very dramatic that
yes,
was very hard to believe. But it happened, and so and then it was leveraged to by the U.S. government to do like the Patriot Act and invasions in the
yep.
Middle East and all that stuff. And Yeah,
Would,
it's a lot more complex and interesting than just like, oh,
yeah. Well,
they are controlling stuff.
do you think it's like almost like optimist, like it's almost like optimistic? It's like, oh, well, if you kind of have this like you think it's like this secret cabal or this like specific group of people or this specific leader or whatever, like Klaus Schwab or whatever it
Hmm.
is it almost like optimistic? It's like, oh, well, if we just got rid of that, then everything would be fine. Like, is
Yeah.
there a level of like almost like optimism in a weird, strange way?
Well, that's part of the allure, I think, of conspiracy
Yeah.
theories, is it like takes these complicated problems that have been around in humanity forever and it
Mhm.
boils them down to like, oh, if we just like get rid of like this shadowy group, then that'll make things way better.
Yeah.
Like if we
Problem
like it
solved.
like in COVID, it's like, oh, if we just get rid of the biolabs, it'll be better. But like no. The COVID lab leak specifically. It makes things less scary to think about. So in that
Yeah.
sense, it's like more of an optimistic viewpoint because it simplifies everything.
Mhm. And also too, like, and unfortunately, it's kind of like 9/11 or even like Y2K. COVID, there's not like really like a smoking gun proof that one side is particularly right. Does that make sense? Like, okay, so like there's not like, oh, we were clearly correct. People on the other side can kind of claim like, oh, but no, like it could be this. I don't think that made any sense what I
You
just said.
mean
But yeah,
like with you said with COVID, like
like there was no like clear like kind of we were right. Does that make sense? Like it wasn't like we were clearly correct. Like people that are still like, oh, it was a conspiracy, they can still claim that because of the lack of knowing
oh
where the origin or like having that like having not having that direct proof of the origin
yeah, there's
makes it
no
more difficult to like be like, hey, no, like clearly this is what happened because of all that shady, actual interesting stuff that happened in China.
right. Yeah, it's not like oh we can point to
Hmm.
this animal in the animal market and say like oh yes this animal was spreading SARS-CoV-2. This is where
Well,
it
yeah,
came from. Blah blah
yeah.
blah.
It's not like
But
SARS one. It's like here, this clearly came from a wet market. Like this is,
yeah, I mean
like it
and
was destroyed. So sorry.
I mean, yeah, you're right. There's no like proof like that.
Hmm.
But instead, what it is like accumulation of evidence that all points to that.
Yeah, and you
So
would
yeah,
think,
it's
but
not
it's
clear. Yeah.
so it's kind of like, I don't know. There was a thing about Y2K too. It was similar. It's like there was people that believed that, all the updates that we did for computers, it was like BS and that nothing would have happened. But because everybody did all that, there's no way of really, and nothing happened. It's like, well, did it not happen because of all?
Hmm.
So sorry, I'm chat. I should probably. I think there's probably somebody else in here. I won't
Oh, no
take
worries.
anyone.
It's always good to hear from you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
And
Um,
hopefully we get an anti-vaxxer.
we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
I see. I think I saw Dr. Freeman was the next one to join. If you want to come off mute and speak, feel free.
And
Hey, what's up?
not much, man. How are you?
Doing good.
I'm a friendly, just to let you know.
That's
I
good
was
to know.
I was at the Bronx debate with you and Dave.
Oh, really?
And goodness gracious, was that a treat to see live? Let me tell you.
Wow,
Um,
awesome. I'm glad you got to.
I'm still laughing when you guys asked them about their own source and they didn't even read it.
Yes.
I still cannot get past that.
Yeah,
Um,
the one guy who like laughs in the audience at that clip, I love whoever that is.
it's me. It's
It is you.
probably.
It was you who did that?
I was back by the bar and I lost it. I couldn't believe it. Um,
It was perfect. It was so it was so
Jesus
funny.
Christ. Um, have you received, has any like opposition like come to you like changing their mind because of that debate? Have you heard anything from anti-vaxxers being like, yeah, you know what, I think you're right?
Because of the debate.
Yeah,
Not
has anyone like referenced that specifically or anything?
not that I know of.
Okay.
Which would be interesting to hear from anybody who might have changed their mind. I mean, I think a lot of people like when I put the clips on YouTube and Facebook, they each in each place they got like a million views, at least one of the clips,
Okay, that's good.
and which I was like, wow, okay, well. And at the time,
This is reaching an
like
audience.
I didn't even have you can't monetize reels on Instagram, and I didn't have Facebook monetized, so I was like, well, that brings me nothing, but that's amazing that all these people are seeing it. But I think a lot of people like didn't know who I was. They just like saw the
Mhm.
clip, and so yeah, I would be interested to see like if there's anybody out there who saw the debate and had to question themselves, because I
Right.
mean that was the whole point of the debate was like not so much that not so much that an anti-vaxxer would change their mind, but like because I know that's not going to happen like
Right.
very quickly at least, almost no matter what you do. But like someone who's on the fence or curious or like they've been exposed to anti-vaccine ideas and maybe they're not like deep in it yet, like those kinds of people. So I don't know.
Right.
I've definitely gotten feedback before where people who were formerly anti-vax contacted me and said that my content helped them change their mind. So that's always nice to hear, but
That's good.
yeah, not specifically from that debate.
Good. Because I can't help but feel like if I was in that situation and like I didn't hear any feedback or anything, and that like everything that just happened that night just like kind of went into the ether and like nothing came of it, like
Mhm.
I might be a little bit disheartened by it, but it's good to know that it reached that much of an audience at
Yeah,
least.
oh, go ahead.
No, I'm good. Yeah, it's
Oh
all
no,
good.
I was just gonna say like, yeah, the fact that so many people have seen those clips and it's by far like the most viewed content I've ever put on online or like those short clips. I'm really glad about that because I mean almost all the comments are like, wow, these old guys are really stupid, and
Yep.
and
Yeah.
like that's the point. I wanted to show that these guys have no clue what they're talking about. Like they're leaders in the anti-vaccine field, and they're clueless. And so I think showing that is an important step in like fighting the misinformation. And so
Yeah.
I am very glad that a lot of people have seen it and it's been received well, and I think it's done its job. But yeah, I would love to hear from more people who might have seen it.
Yeah. I'm also. I guess I'm really not blown away by this, but that who was the physician who
Pierre
was
Corey.
complaining to? Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
Hmm.
So jeez. So Mr. Physician
Hmm.
goes through 4 years of batch, 4 years of med school, and goes through whatever he needed to do to become a lung doctor. And him harping on something like an element in a compound, saying that it's dangerous, like
Hmm.
to me, screams grift. When I'm sure that at some point during his MD schooling, that during his rotation in the ER, I'm sure he gave normal saline to somebody, which has chlorine in it,
Yeah.
which is poisonous. So, like,
Hmm.
what are you doing? Like, you can't, like, come on, man.
Yep. I
Like, really, if I had the chance to, did they ask questions at that debate? I forget. Like, did anyone in the audience ask you guys
audience
questions?
questions? No, not
I
that
can't.
time.
Okay,
No.
because I was gonna. Okay, I couldn't remember if they did or not, because that's something I definitely would have asked him. Because then he knowingly poisoned people during his ER rotations. Like
Yeah, no, they got mad and walked off at right
that
after
was.
right
Yep.
after the organizers
Yep.
called the debate over. Or actually no, Pierre was the organizers were like, "Okay,
Tried to
we'll
give a
do."
mic drop.
Yeah, the organizers were like, "Okay, we'll do one more topic," because Pierre and Steve were like getting really upset, and then when they felt like they got their last word in, Pierre was like, "I'm done," and walked off. And then Steve followed him, of course.
Yep.
So yeah, I
And they
think there
didn't
would have
hang
been
around.
questions, but they didn't stay around for it.
No, yeah, they didn't. They didn't. That's right. Yeah, that's right. They just was like, "Nah, we're done," and just
Yeah,
left. And like you two were the only that like stuck around and actually talked to everybody that was there.
Yeah, me and Dave stayed. We talked to
Yeah.
people. There was even like some of the anti-vaxxers stayed behind. I remember there was
Yep.
one woman, I think she must have been drunk or high or
Yes.
something,
Yep.
but she was like
Yep.
she like came up to the table and like whispered like you're an asshole and then like started doing this weird wavy noodle arm dancing and I'm like,
Yep.
Hello, ma'am. Would you like to talk at all, or is that all you want to say?"
Yep.
It was
Man.
so bizarre.
All right. I'm gonna drop off, but I'll be hanging
All right,
in this chat. I'll just be listening, so I'll be on mute.
sounds good. Thanks for calling in,
All
man.
right. Thanks, Dan. Yep. I'll be around. See it.
Let me catch up with the chat. While I think I saw uh, on Discord, there's Devin, and then there's a lowercase r and an uppercase R person. I think Devin was in first, and then I don't know which of the R's were in first. But whoever wants to speak next, I'll wait for that. And let me catch up on the chat. Um, let's see. What did we learn from COVID pandemic we should apply to prep for the future? I think one thing we learned that we knew beforehand, but it was reiterated during COVID, um, is that you have to be as aggressive with outbreaks as possible, as aggressive in containing them as possible, because the ideal scenario is you overreact and then, like, to the just average observer, it's like nothing happened. And that's perfect, right? Like, if there was a immediate, um, if there was an immediate aggressive response to COVID and it, like, was extinguished, it would be a nothing story right now. We'd be looking back and someone on Reddit would be like, "Hey, remember this coronavirus that almost was an outbreak a few in 2020? That was weird, right?" Like that's all it would be. It would just be some random story. So it's like kind of thankless, I guess, to have a good aggressive infectious disease outbreak response system, because you make it into nothing and then nobody talks about it. Um, but there's a lot of work that goes into like squashing it. Thank you for the super chat. Um, yep, we have live. They say, oh man, we got lives here. The clip of the debate not reading their own study is one of my favorite ways to shut up anti-vaxxers. Your work rules. Thank you. Appreciate that. Looks like lowercase r is having mic issues. Sorry about that. Uppercase R could speak if they want, or Devin could speak if they want. Uh, excuse me. Yeah, but things like that, we definitely learned, or like relearned or learned again for COVID. Um, Other things is that like you have to be super clear in your communication. Like anti-vaxxers will try to twist anything you're saying to um, to like their own political, personal, or monetary benefit. And I mean, we're seeing that now with everything Fauci said being relitigated, and uh, like some of it was just bad communication, like just people in the CDC or NIH being unclear, or in the WHO even being unclear or too definitive with what they said. Um, like for example, I just I just read or I listened to Malcolm Gladwell's new book, The Revenge of the Tipping Point. It was for a book club. I did not like it, but one thing that he said, well, I didn't like it overall. It was like there were parts that were fine, there were parts that were good, but a lot of it was just like way too many generalizations. But he had chapters about COVID, and one of them was about like aerosols and how SARS-CoV-2 spreads, and he talks about the WHO statement when I think they tweeted it. They said, "Fact: SARS-CoV-2 is not airborne," and that was a very definitive statement that had not been scientifically demonstrated, and so that caused a lot of confusion and frustration, and like stuff like messaging like that needs to not happen. Like me- messaging from authorities needs to be like, hey, look, this is what we know now, this is what we don't know, and this is what we're working on, and how these messages might change. So they could have said like, hey, we don't have like definitive evidence that SARS-CoV-2 spreads easily through the air and aerosols, but uh, it might. So take precautions until we know. Like, stuff like that would have been way better than being like, fact, it doesn't spread through the air, which it was shown to do so. Um, yeah, it was the worst. It was not good. There was definitely stuff like that, which it's been a problem for a long time, right? Like scientists do not get media training typically. They don't even get like just regular speaking training. They're just like, hey, can you do good research and can you teach classes where most people, you know, don't fail? Okay, cool. Here's a lab, and here's all this publicity, and you might get contacted by reporters, but who cares? Like, just do good lab work. Um, like, yeah, that's the communication aspect of scientific training is not there. And so a lot of scientists who end up in public health roles where they have to communicate to the public don't always do a great job. Even if they're technically right, but they're not clear, like that's also a problem. So, yeah, communication definitely needs to be better next time around. And especially since next time around there's going to, from the get-go, be a big resistance to anything coming out from public health. Um, yeah, so. Hey, I hear someone in the Discord. What's up? I hear, okay. They're trying to, I don't know. They're trying to connect, I guess. I don't know why Discord's giving people problems. While we're waiting for that person to reconnect, someone else could come off mic and speak if you like. We thought COVID was spread on surfaces because the common cold coronavirus is spread that way. Yeah, I mean, um, it was like a lot of respiratory viruses tend to spread better, like via droplets, like closer contact. Not necessarily like aerosols that saturate the air and then people breathe them in. But SARS-CoV-2 happened to be one of the viruses that is good at spreading through aerosols. So yeah, it wasn't unreasonable to make the assumption that SARS-CoV-2 wouldn't spread efficiently through the air, but until you show that that's the case, you can't be making definitive statements about it. Yeah, anybody can speak if they want. I lost track of the order by which people were joining.
I think Devin's next.
Yeah, I've been
And then
saying Devin could come off mic. Wait, are they muted by me? Why are they muted by me? Did I do that on accident?
Hello. Me?
Oh,
You
hey.
hear me?
Yes, Devin, I can hear you. Why
Hi.
why did
Hi.
why did I have you muted? I'm
There we go.
I don't
confused.
know. We tried for like 10 minutes to. Okay. This is Danielle. I talked to you last time.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so
So,
sorry. I just
it's
noticed a
okay.
little icon and I was like, "Wait, is that? What is that?" So I'm sorry, I don't know how that happened.
No, that's absolutely fine. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good. So I was telling you last time that I like to go on anti-vax pages on Facebook and debate
Yes.
them and
Mm-hmm.
call out misinformation. And so since the last time we talked, I've been really paying attention to what they're saying, what their
Mm-hmm.
views are. I mean, obviously not the paranoid ones that are, everyone's against me. It's all a big conspiracy, but the ones that post a lot of clips. And the ones that I'm seeing the most, it's McCullough and Nick Hulsher.
They're very popular right now. Yeah.
And so I'm getting so upset, with them because they absolutely believe this. And I actually just wrote down a little thing. And then please let me know what you think about this, because this is verbatim. Nicholas Hulsher says
Mm-hmm.
mRNA vaccine looks like a shotgun to the heart with all the little grayed out areas where there's
Mm-hmm.
scarring. And he says the vaccine materials do reach the cardiovascular system and they do reach the heart. It has been demonstrated at autopsy. Messenger RNA and spike protein was found in the heart that results in microscopic scars that lead to ventricular tachycardia and sudden death. So, of course, people are going to be freaked out when they hear that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's coming from complete fraudsters who are like grifting off of supplements. Like none of that stuff is really true. They're
They believe him
probably
because he was a cardiologist.
yeah, yeah. He Peter McCullough was a cardiologist, and then he just like I don't know was like, hey, I can make a ton of money selling fake spike supplements.
Yeah, and the nanokinase. And there's another doctor
Mm-hmm.
that I just discovered 2 days ago. His name's Dr. Michael Richman, and he
Okay.
actually debunks the nanokinase or whatever that McCullough is selling. And isn't that wild that, oh, what's his name? That you debated actually is blind in one eye from it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Steve Kirsch, yeah. His it's I mean it's not like confirmed, but it's a blood thinner. Nattokinase is a blood thinner, and so he got vaccinated. Steve got at least 2 doses of COVID vaccine. Just and then it's funny because he now says like COVID vaccines are like death missiles that are killing people.
Yeah.
But to like detox from Spike, he was taking a lot of supplements from Peter McCullough, and it's reasonable that though that amount of blood thinning supplements could have put him at greater risk for eye bleeds, and that's what happened. He had an eye bleed that left him basically blind in one eye, and it was really funny because Dave like kind of was poking him about that during the debate. It's like, hey, can you see?
No,
How's your eye? Yeah,
I
how's your
remember
eye?
that.
And
And the other thing that they're saying, and this was yesterday, they're saying that the nanoparticles cross the blood-brain barrier and they're causing personality disorders and anger and road rage and impulse control and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, now they're trying to say it causes Alzheimer's too?
what doesn't cause Alzheimer's to these people?
I know.
But no, it doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier. I mean, the pharmacokinetics of mRNA vaccines has been pretty well studied, both
It,
in
it can't leave the bicep. It's a closed system, right?
so uh, not all the material stays in the bicep in the injection site, but most of it does. If you like track the material using like fluorescence or radioactivity after injection, it's going to the three main places it goes to are the injection site, the lymph nodes that drain that site drains to, because immune cells are coming to the injection site, taking up the material and taking it to the lymph nodes, and the liver. Those are the three big places because the liver is going to detoxify your body and process any metabolites that your body is taking in. So those are the three major places. Everywhere else is practically background noise or just a little bit above it to the point where it's like, is that even doing anything?
Well, the study from Japan says otherwise, but okay.
Which study?
Uh-oh.
Which study from Japan?
The biodistribution study?
The okay, you have to. Oh, is this an old one? Is this the old one? Okay, can you link it?
No, I read it years ago. I'm just curious, like your take on the biodistribution study from there and the fact that well, I mean, I guess you would know more than me, but yeah,
I I
it does.
believe this was a study looking at just LNPs. Is that do you remember that being the case?
Perhaps it was many years ago.
Okay. So when I hear Japan biodistribution study, I remember there was a study that looked at LNP distribution post vaccination, and the actual numbers were that practically all of it goes to the places that I just said, especially because
In the study,
the liver
uh,
metabolizes fats, and the rest, the numbers were like non-existent.
that's not what I read from the study. It was concentrated in your ovaries and your testicles.
Okay, you can. Oh, the ovaries. Yeah, that was a claim. No, it didn't. It didn't really go to the ovaries.
Well, that's good then. Thank you.
What's that?
I said thank you. That's good. That's good to know. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if you want to link the study, we can look at it. I can look for what I remember finding about it. In the meantime, and
Can I make
COVID.
a request for you guys to post it in the Discord?
What was that?
Can I make a request have that study posted in the Discord?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Oh yeah. Here's a summary. Um. Oh, does Medium require accounts now? That's lame. Well, here's a summary that I remember reading on it. Let me post it in the Discord too. Basically explains that it's just tracking the lipids, not the mRNA and the resulting protein. Lipids are just fats. They're not going to cause damage on their own. And the actual amount found in the ovaries was like negligible. And again, this was, I believe, injecting a relatively large dose into rats. So like per body weight, it was the equivalent of getting like over 100 mRNA vaccines, and the numbers were still like really small. Anyway, that's the summary article. Let's see if I can. Is this the Japan? No, it's Russia. Oh, it's probably linked here. Okay. Yeah. So the summary kind of tells the whole story, but I can continue looking for the actual paper. Okay. Yeah, so you can, read that summary, and I'll just throw in that like, you know, any pathology or damage related to like damage to the ovaries was looked for. There's no evidence that COVID vaccines damage ovaries in any way, or affect fertility, or affect risk of miscarriage, which I know is a thing right now in the influencer space. I've seen the 82% number floating around again, which went did its rounds years ago, and now people are rehashing it. And that number comes from literally a report where they were tracking women who were pregnant and tracking the outcomes of their pregnancy. And the person who came up with that 82% number basically took what where the outcomes were reported, right? Like, and then treated that as a denominator. But meanwhile, most of the women in the study had not given birth yet. Their pregnancies were not done. And so that's how he got the denominator to get the 82% number, which is just garbage. There weren't that many miscarriages in that study, and larger studies show that there's no increased risk. Anyway, other people can speak if they would like.
I've got a good question for you.
Yes.
If the mRNA vaccine worked and didn't have very harmful side effects,
Mm-hmm.
then how do you explain all of the problems in the world since the COVID pandemic?
Uh, you know, it's probably the vaccine causing, the Oscars slap, the 2024 election results. It's causing every murder,
Harambe.
every bombing. I assume that's a joke question, right?
I think you've just proved my point. You can't even begin to explain all the problems, but a group of elites controlling everything can.
I'm sorry, are you being serious?
We can't tell anymore.
What? What do you mean? We can't tell what?
Me and the voices I can hear, we can't tell if we're being serious or not anymore.
Okay.
I've got a serious question for you, Dan.
Yeah.
I haven't had any of them, of the shots, and my sibling has, and most of my family has as well. And right now, my sibling has neurological problems that started in 2021, 2022. She won't tell me exactly when, as well as my aunt, who's also suffering from very serious problems that also started around the same time.
Okay.
And I'm not the only person that I know that has family in the same situation. I am personally an engineer, and my circle of friends consists of like welders, machinists, millwrights, robot programmers, like all, you know, stuff that most people don't even know exists as a profession. And all of us know people with the exact same situation. What are your
Okay.
thoughts on that?
So, in that situation, right, um, it would make sense to say, like, hey, I'm seeing this. Can we look broader outside your circle of people that you know? And can we find any trends in the population? Just associations or
They
maybe
all have,
causations,
they
right?
all differ from ages that are like multiple decades apart. Most of these people do not smoke, do not drink, do not abuse anything, including their own bodies. Um, I'm being serious here. I'm not even trolling. I'm
I know,
very.
but does it make
And
sense what I'm saying? Like, we would want to look outside the circle of people that you know, right?
mhm.
And
Oh, for sure.
look
Sure.
at the population to see if there are trends, right?
I think part of the trend, honestly, is that when my sister told me this information, she did so under. It's like she didn't want to admit it. And not that I was going to make fun of her or anything like that for it. It was just like she did not want to come forward with this information because she was how should I put it? Like embarrassed or something. Like she was like, oh, it happened at this time, and okay. And I'm concerned because she plays a pivotal role in her own family, and yeah, it's
Okay.
not. She's not in a good spot right now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, if they're not in a good spot, they might not want to talk about it. Family members who are sick don't always want to tell other family members exactly what's going on. But if we look at the population and look for any association between COVID vaccines and neurological outcomes, I don't know what your sister has, if it's like transverse myelitis or Guillain-Barré syndrome or something like that. But we see that actually COVID is more likely to cause those kinds of outcomes. And neurologic outcomes have not really had significant increased risks in large study settings. There was even one that in Nordic countries that involved like 99 million people, and what they found was COVID mRNA vaccines were associated with myocarditis, which we already knew. That adenoviral vector vaccines were associated with th- uh, thrombosis, which we already knew. So they were finding real associations, but they didn't find associations for any new concerning effects. So, as we get older, we're going to see our family members and our friends developing new health problems because you're healthy until you're not. And we have to, if you're going to try to pin a cause on it, then you have to like look broader than the people and see like, hey, has anybody studied this? Has anybody looked at a lot of people and tried to find an association? And does it exist, right? So I believe you that you have people in your life who are sick, who are suffering from whatever ailment they might be suffering from. But when it comes to neurological impacts, neurological outcomes, there's no good evidence that mRNA vaccines are causing that. And I can link you the study that I just mentioned.
I mean, you can link studies all day, man. But like I said, all of the start points of these issues are within the same 6 month period, and it, I, I I can count on I can max out my fingers counting the number of people that I know have have people in their lives that have been directly impacted by mostly it seems to be mostly what I think as an engineer it's inflammation of nerve tissue because the stuff injected does not stay in the fucking bicep because it's coated in a particle that's designed to pass through cell walls, so it goes everywhere, and it
It
seems
doesn't
to
go
be
everywhere.
so the the lipid coating pass through cell walls, true or false?
Yeah, and so when it gets injected into your muscle tissue, it gets
Yeah.
injected into a interstitial space that quickly is attacked by a lot of immune cells, and those immune cells are mostly what take up the lipid nanoparticles. They don't go everywhere and deliver mRNA everywhere.
So how does it cause myocarditis in young boys?
It's due to a over-inflammatory response. So if your immune response responds too strongly to something, that can cause myocarditis. It doesn't have to directly go to the heart to do that. It's
Well,
been,
it goes everywhere, but like it goes
it doesn't
like
though.
not, I'm looking at it like from an engineer's perspective. So you're pouring sand, you're opening the oil cap on your top of your engine, you're pouring in sand, right? Like it's not a
That's
closed
not,
system.
I wouldn't say that's as a biologist, I wouldn't say that's analogous at all to what mRNA vaccines are. And again, like scientists have these same concerns, right? Scientists want to see like where is the vaccine going? What is it doing? Where is it actually delivering mRNA and expressing protein? That's important to know if you want to get an immune response. And so scientists have looked. They've looked at where the mRNA goes and where the protein is expressed, and they've also looked at where the lipids go. And it's mostly in the injection site, the lymph nodes, and the liver, which is where you would expect it to go. That's where you would expect contents of any injection to go, really. Not intravenous injections, but any intramuscular injections, I should say.
Well, honestly,
I mean, what
thank
would
you
it
for
take? What do you want to see to convince to be convinced otherwise? Because whatever position you have, you should want to interrogate it and prove it wrong, right? Because if you can't prove it wrong, then you know that your position is strong. So what do you need to see?
what would I need to see to regain my trust in that?
No, not regain your
Honestly,
trust
sorry.
to demonstrate whether or not your position is correct, or what to prove your position wrong. What would you need to see?
My sister not fucked up, I guess.
Okay,
Have her use
so
pens
nothing.
after 9 p.m. basically. Like,
So nothing. You don't you're convinced and nothing will change your mind. Because you know
as
COVID,
I
because you know SARS-CoV-2, COVID, right, is more likely to cause those kinds of adverse effects than any vaccine.
yeah, and she is vax maxed, by the way. So like, I don't know. I just want to say this one thing though. I just want to say thank you for opening up this. I didn't actually come here to troll. I actually was surprised I was able to talk to you. So thank you for this, and thank you for putting this on because I don't know. I'm amazed not more people are expressing this kind of stuff. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But I just want to say thank you.
Sure. Yeah. I hope your uh, sister and your friends are doing well, well as they can. And I hope I posted links, so I encourage you to read those.
Thank you.
All right. Um, yeah. So we can move on to another caller if you like, if someone likes.
Hey Dan, I've got a question.
Yeah.
You can take this.
Yep. Go for it.
I'm a friendly. Thanks for taking my question.
Mhm.
Really appreciate what you do. It's really nice to see, a well-studied champion on this team. Not to say that champion definitely.
Oops, you're
Are you
cutting
going
in
to
and
do
out.
any more live debates? Because your videos turn head. I think it's all these shorts. That's what brought me into your space. So,
Okay.
deck.
I think I heard most of that. Um, the shorts brought you into the space. You were coming in and out a little bit. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to do my best in making content. It's it's easier right now to make short form content. I know last time I did a live stream, I said new long form video next week, and that was like a month ago, and I haven't finished it. It's literally I still had my afro at the time I filmed it, and it's like there's like an hour of footage in my editing software. I just need to finish it. I haven't. um, Part of it is like there's a lot of stuff happening really fast right now in the media, and it is impossible for me to make a long form video um, addressing things like as they happen because they're happening so fast. So then I just get like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to get to cover that, so I'll just take my time editing what I want to edit, and then yeah, my kids take up my life, and my hobbies that I want to do take up my life, and I'm like, I'd rather do those things. But the point is, right now, I've gotten into like a rhythm of short form content, and that has been nice because I can easily address things that are happening right now. Um, but I don't want to move away from long form content. I want to keep doing it. It's just it's hard. It's hard to make time for it, man. And it takes a lot more work. Um, so
This is definitely yeoman's work, but I'm actually wondering if live.
live debates, um, yeah, like the organizers of the debate that Professor Dave and I did, they they've been trying. They have tried for the past year to get other people other anti-vax influencers, and I know for a fact they were in touch with Peter McCullough. I know for a fact they reached out directly to Brett Weinstein multiple times. Um, and I think there were a few other people that they, like bigger names that they were trying to get, and they haven't been able to secure anybody. Nobody has wanted to do that kind of format with us. Um, yeah, and I'm always open to, like, if an anti-vaccine influencer wants to have a live discussion with me, probably 9 times out of 10 I would accept, um, because I think it's worth demonstrating that they don't know what they're talking about, and that is my goal in those conversations, with anti-vaccine influencers specifically. People like, the last caller who called in, like, I'm not gonna be like trying to do a gotcha or anything, because I don't know you, and I don't know what you're doing, what you're spreading on your socials or whatever. But anti-vaccine influencers who are directly profiting from lying to people, I don't have any sympathy for that. But yeah, the point is, I'm open to doing more debates, but there haven't been takers, right? And even in my short form content, I've been like tagging the people that I make responses to. They almost never even comment or make a response video themselves. I know that the one lady I was making responses to, misinformed misinformed farm MD, I think is her handle. Uh, like, she commented on one of my reels that I made about her, and it it was wrong, and that was funny. But then that was it. That was it. They don't want to engage, is what I find most of the time. They don't want to engage, because for them it's just about making their content and getting, like, reaping the profits from it. They don't really want to have a conversation. I think I'm super behind on the chat, but other people in the Discord can chime in if they want while I read. But thank you, Brett, for mentioning that, because it's something that I'm definitely interested in. Just that's the story. No takers.
I'm interested in Scort's point because I thought it was pretty good, and I didn't think you answered it, because it makes sense to me that if you put sand and oil in an engine, and that would mess up my car real bad.
Right.
So these doctors are putting sand and oil in my arm. That will probably mess my heart up as well.
No, I mean, in what way is an mRNA vaccine sand?
I'm not sure, but I'm not an engineer, but he said he would.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would mess up a
I
car
mean,
engine,
I
but
mean, like, analogy for it, if I may, is basically you're adding excessive inflammation to areas that should never see that, right? Like, you get abrasive material, essentially, which is what the spike actually is, or how I understand it to function in that situation, is causing the inflammation that's causing the myocarditis in the actual heart tissue.
so what's happening is you're getting a lot of lipid nanoparticles that only carry mRNA into your muscle tissue. And it's just like if you get a cut, a lot of your immune cells are going to rush to that area and deal with the injury and any infiltrators that come in with the cut. So it's not like an unnatural or unusual thing to happen. And when you do that, when you add the lipid nanoparticles with the mRNA, again, it's mostly the either muscle cells, like the muscle cells or the epithelial cells in that injection site, or the dendritic cells. Those are the immune cells that are rushing to the site of injection, that are taking up the mRNA and expressing the spike protein. And then those dendritic cells take that spike protein to the lymph nodes where you have germinal centers where B cells, the cells that make your antibodies, train basically, where they become mature. And once there, then the B cells are going to start clonally expanding and making a response to that spike protein. And these are all natural responses that your immune system undergoes. And it's way more preferable than having a full-fledged SARS-CoV-2 virus in your body, right? Because the spike protein can't fight back. SARS-CoV-2 can replicate itself and has other proteins to fight back against you. If
Thing
it's
is,
just
your body doesn't need, or the whole system doesn't need COVID, the actual virus to cause this. Your body is manufacturing the spike proteins at an uncontrolled rate. And when your heart cycles, it pressurizes itself to push blood through the body. So when that happens, that's why it was more or less, no, I don't want to say first observed, but by media first observed with the heart, because that is essentially the highest pressure zone in that hydraulic system, aka the cardiovascular or whatever. I'm not a biologist or a doctor. I'm just an engineer. But that would be like where you're going to see it the most, is where is the under the most pressure. Also, the heart can't just stop and heal. So that's where you're getting that. That's where you're observing that kind of phenomenon.
So it doesn't have to do with pressure. It's myocarditis is inflammation of heart muscle.
Right. When you have particles in a solution and you pressurize it, they don't. They're gonna. The particles will be of a different density than everything else. Like, you're going to have concentration. If you want to argue particle physics or that kind of
What
shit,
is
okay,
what is changing the pressure in this case?
nothing. It's that it's being spiked in, not spiked with the stuff. It's being spiked by the actual pressure in the in semi-closed system of the cardiovascular. And so if you have sharp or otherwise things that shouldn't be there, they're going to cause problems.
Sharp.
That's why I make sand in. They enter the cell tissue to tell it to express what it wants to express, and then the immune system attacks it. The problem is that gets concentrated in a high pressure zone, aka the heart. That's where you see the most expression of the spike proteins, and the immune
No,
system
no, no, no,
attacks
no, no, no.
that's those cell tissues which
it's
are in the heart.
it's
Right?
not okay. Hang on. What have you seen to convince you that the heart expresses spike protein after COVID
It does.
vaccination?
Okay, dude. The mRNA stuff does not stay in the bicep, so it goes into the bloodstream, which then goes throughout the whole body, and it'll be concentrated in areas where have either high density or
Okay.
high pressure. Which is going to be
I know
nervous
this is
system
what
or-
you've said. This is what you've said, but I'm asking you, what have you seen to convince you that spike expression is actually happening in heart tissue?
What have I seen or read?
What have you seen? Yeah. What have you seen or read? What evidence?
Evidence.
Yeah.
It's okay. So, does the lipid nanoparticle stay in your bicep? True or false?
Most all of them, I told you, all the expression when we measure is in the bicep, lymph nodes, liver. Those are the three main places we see it. Okay. So if you are going to say that there's spike expression in the heart tissue, then I want to see evidence of that. I want to see that heart cells have taken up mRNA and have expressed spike protein. I have not seen that, and scientists have looked.
Okay, I guess I'll let this play out more and see what happens.
Do you reject that?
I reject that the nanoparticles stay in the bicep because they're designed to pass through cell walls. So as an engineer, I don't understand how, like, I remember watching this on the news back in the day and watching the scientist or the guy in the fucking lab coat say this, and I immediately fucking just laughed my ass off. It's like, what? This shit is designed to pass through cell walls to enter to express particular proteins, get the immune system to attack it, and then learn like a normal fucking system. Okay, we attack this now, but to get there, you need to destroy tissue to train the immune system. The problem is the tissue, the attacking process does not stay locally in the bicep.
It
Yeah,
it,
post means
it
man.
does.
Post, yeah.
Again, like, so I mean, what have you seen? Like, have you seen things, or do you just like, is this just a concept you think about, or have you heard people say this? Because I mean, like, we can measure these things. It's not ambiguous.
It's not a measurement I need. It's just physics, man. Like I mean, I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what to
I'm
tell
going to
you.
back up Scott here. I think it's some basic physics because, like, so we can start with this example, right? Like, true or false, my car can go through like a paper wall.
That is true.
So my car can go to the center of the earth, right? Because if it can go through one thing, it's just more going through things with my car.
I don't know what's happening right now.
Which is
Um,
basically like how the heart and all that works, isn't it?
I know. I don't think that's a
I have
useful analogy
I
at
have
all.
no I don't know this guy. I'm just look. That was my biggest hang up on this whole thing was the guy initially explaining. And you know what? You can maybe write this off as poor science communication, and I can accept that too because I know I've seen your videos. I've seen other videos on this too, and there's a lot that could improve with on that regard. But when the guy initially said, "Okay, this is designed to enter cells, express the protein, the immune system attacks it, and then it learns how to combat this new threat." The problem is that to do so, the particles that enter the cells do not stay local to the muscle tissue. They don't. If they can't, if they're designed to pass through cell walls, they're not going to stay in one area. It's the bicep isn't a closed system. That
I think you would be more right if it was an intravenous injection, like if they injected it like straight into your vein, then it would go everywhere. But it's the muscle, like the liquid that's carrying the lipid
right. So
nanoparticles is
the
it,
so
it's
so so,
in it's
so
in
your
the
bicep
muscle, and
doesn't
then your
get
immune cells rush there and
so
take most of it up before it actually seeps into the blood.
so the muscle tissue is a closed system then.
No, but it's not going to release everything right away like you would have in an intravenous injection. That's why there are different routes of injection, right?
So basically, if I were to take a COVID vaccine, I'd have to chance it on the nurse knowing how deep or where to exactly position that syringe.
Well, nurses are trained on it, but there's no way she's going to hit a vein and intravenously inject a vaccine. That's not how. There's no anatomy in the shoulder that contains like something large enough to insert a needle into and do an intravenous injection.
So are the lipid nanoparticles, are they smaller or larger than a blood cell?
Then a blood cell?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're smaller.
Okay, that doesn't support. So if they're smaller than a blood cell, then they can exit and enter. Like they can. Man.
So
But
your tissues are are walled in, right? Cells are tightly fit together, right? So if you inject it into an interstitial space like the muscle, the liquid's not going to rush, and including the LMPs, they're not going to be able to quickly rush into the bloodstream. Okay, they're going to be stuck in that interstitial space and be taken up mostly by the surrounding cells and the immune cells that come in there.
I'm guessing you haven't seen the video where his name is Kyle. I think he was a maybe someone here in the on the Discord here. Maybe link it or something. But this
Is
guy named Kyle,
is
he
this
was
is
a
this the is this the guy John Campbell interviews?
where he immediately tasted the metallic taste in his mouth, like as she was like pushing her thumb down, the guy like at the same time simultaneously tasted metallic taste, which is what others have also reported.
Okay. What do you think that demonstrates?
That the human bicep isn't a closed system.
I didn't say it's a closed system, but why would someone taste metal?
Well,
What
taste.
metal is there?
It's not that they tasted metal. They described it as a metallic taste,
That
as in
tasting
something entered the
metal.
system.
Yeah, well, why would that happen? What's in the vaccine that would taste like metal?
That's not what I said, man.
No,
He
it's that
described it as that.
the how do you explain someone tasting metal other than that particles are like falling through their cells to the heart because they're smaller, like smaller things will fall through like bigger things, like if I like drop a ball in my house, it will fall through my house because the ball's smaller than the house. It's just basic science, right? So like a smaller thing, like a spike protein. Spike sounds kind of sharp as well. You don't want that getting lodged in your heart. Will fall through like a bigger thing, and then you'll taste metal. Obviously, it's obvious.
Nathan, brother, do you want a job at the HHS? You got it.
Hey, can I jump in?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah. This is nuts, but yeah. So I'm a fan of your channel. I really love your stuff, and I'm not here to debate in any way. I'm just curious because I am also a big fan of Decoding the Gurus, and yeah, I always know you've been on there, and lately they've been. I just don't follow this stuff super carefully, but I trust these guys. They've been showing that what's his name? The your co-debater, Professor Dave has kind of gone a little squirrely, kind of maybe treading into some anti-Semitic territory, that kind of thing. Obviously, this is a dicey topic, but it seems it seems pretty clear that he's gone a little further than than is comfortable for a lot of people. Have you reacted to that? I apologize if you already have. I'm just curious if you've had any sort of interaction with him since all this has happened or any thoughts on it.
So I saw his video on Destiny, and I mean, I'll just make it clear that like I don't think that what is happening in Gaza should be normalized in any way. I do see it as a genocide, and I don't think Dave is anti-Semitic about it. He's very aggressive about it. In my opinion, I don't think he's gone into anti-Semitism territory. I haven't listened to Decoding the Gurus in a while.
You might want to check it out, like, because I'm probably pretty close to that opinion. Like I'm not an apologist for what's going on there, but it's gotten pretty. There are lines you can cross, and I think he's crossed them. Like based on what I've heard, I mean, it's possible that Decoding the Gurus guys are just clipping stuff, and it's not fair. But I don't know. I'm pretty. I feel like it's someone doubling down to the point of kind of losing it, and it it's uncomfortable for people who want who respect science communicators like you guys if you don't dig
Mhm.
in into that a little bit, but it's cool. I get it. Who has time for all these beefs? But and it's not something I care about that much, but it is
Right.
interesting to see that happen.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that based on what I've seen, that's my opinion on it.
Fair enough.
I'm not opposed to looking at what the Decoding the Gurus guys have to say. I respect them and what they do. Um, I really, but I honestly have not listened to them in a long time. My podcast listening has been more towards like fun stuff rather than like
Good.
um, like Decoding the Guru type stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, I know people might have those opinions about Dave. I don't share them at the time, and it's not a topic that I'm going to delve into in my content.
Sure, sure, sure.
So yeah,
Fair enough, man.
yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. Don't mind me.
Oh, appreciate it. Appreciate you bringing that up. Um,
Hey, Dr. Wilson. Oh,
yeah, go for
can I
it.
ask a question? Hey, yeah. So I'm a fan of your work and the show and all that, and um, I had started listening to you in part because I had some family members who became a little bit vaccine skeptical, etc. A couple years ago, as many people did,
Hmm.
and you know, I get a lot out of listening to your work and some other podcasts, but what I was curious for your opinion on is if there's a good way for a layperson like myself to essentially learn to better understand how to read the scientific papers and
Mm,
whatnot, because a lot of the time, I'll see somebody post a paper and I have no idea if the journal like is reputable, like if it's even an actual journal, all
yeah.
that kind of stuff. And I just think, my background is in computer engineering,
Hmm.
and I don't think it translates very well to understanding a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. Um, and that's a valid question. I mean, it's scientific literature is mostly written by scientists for scientists. It's not written for like even journalists to read most of the time. But my approach, like especially if I'm going into a topic where I don't know much about what I'm reading, and I'm trying to learn as much of it about it as I can, I'll look for review articles, and I'll try to gather like at least 2 to 3 review articles in preferably like higher tier journals like Nature, Science, Cell, or whatever field you're looking at. I'll try to look for review articles because those are experts in the field who are like summarizing literature and they'll be citing a lot of different stuff. And I think if you get a couple reviews together and you read them all and they're all kind of saying the same thing, that can help with my confidence and being like, okay, like this is the way the field thinks about this problem, or this is what the field says the evidence generally points to. And I can get a better sense of like the state of the field, right? So that's my approach in like looking and like trying to learn about something. If I'm sent a paper and it's like, is this paper correct? Is it well designed? What's the deal with it? That can be a little trickier. If I know the field, then I can tell generally pretty quickly like whether like how well like I can just go straight to the methods and be like, what did they do and what do the results look like? And I can kind of assess the paper relatively quickly. If it's a field I'm less familiar with, I'll take more time in like reading through the sections. But a lot of it takes just practice. I remember being in grad school and reading papers for a bunch of different classes on a bunch of different topics. And looking back, it was like, man, it took me a long time to read and understand what the hell they were talking about in those papers. And over time, it just got easier. But it can be very difficult depending on like how dense the topic is, who the writers are. But generally, journals I stay away from. MDPI is sus. Curious, Cureus. Those are predatory journals generally. It doesn't mean like I'll see a paper by it and immediately be like, oh, that's trash. But what I will do is I'll look at it, see if I can assess any flaws in it, and then I'll also PubMed actually has this nice sidebar on their pages where it'll say similar articles. So if you like go to the PubMed page that has like the abstract to a paper, and you go to the side, it'll say similar articles, and I'll look at those. And I'll be like, okay, did anybody do like similar experiments? Did they find the same thing? Stuff like that. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for answering.
Yeah, I definitely don't know anything about computer science. It's different fields.
It's yeah, it's really boring.
It's tough. I tried coding once in grad school, and it didn't work out well. MDPI, I thought that was a good journal. Generally, no. MDPI is thought of as a predatory journal. Um, Let me just. Yeah, it's open access. Oh, MDPI is MDPI is a publisher of over 400 um, peer-reviewed sources. However, a lot of those sources can be predatory journals because MDPI is a publisher that will just like publish. It's not very stringent. Yeah, good questions. Did anybody else want to speak who hasn't spoken yet? We're getting to, I'll have about 30 or so minutes left max here. But with MDPI, don't be like, I see it and immediately discount it. Like maybe, I'm sure there are articles published by MDPI that have value, but just be wary. Like when I see it, I'm like, okay, I might have to make doubly sure I check other sources to see if they agree with whatever results these authors are finding. I see Les Faby talking about October 7th. I agree with your comment. I agree. It's yeah, the history in that region is very bloody.
I don't know, to toss in a more fun topic than October 7th. I don't know if anyone has followed the was it Lancaster outbreak
Oh
of
yeah, the
measles.
measles. Yep.
Yeah, kind of wild that RFK was there almost exactly 5 years ago, telling people not to get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He says he comes over to Lancaster 5 years ago, gives a talk to Amish, the Amish community, Amish and Mennonite community, and he's like, they're coming for you. They can't stand that you're healthy. They want you to get vaccinated. And then he turns around as HHS and says, I've never questioned the safety of MMR vaccine. Like, get out of here, dude.
You mean
Such
to
a
tell me the
liar.
Amish get sick?
Sorry.
You mean to tell me the Amish get sick? I didn't know that. I thought they were always healthy all the time.
Ah, no, I know, man. It's like crazy. Kids can get sick. Who knew? Yeah, no. I mean, Amish people, yeah, like they can get infectious diseases. They get autism. It's um, they're not immune to all this stuff. Uh, I see someone saying Aaron Siri always says he wants to debate. His points are all the classics, bunch of rubbish. Can you call him out? Yeah, I want to make a video about his appearance on Rogan, but that is, it's always a 3 hour episode of Rogan that I have to listen to and then break down. It's a lot of work, but I want to do that. And I don't believe that he wants to debate. I think he wants to debate certain people. I think that he knows he's a lawyer and then he can talk about, he can like manipulate the situation to talk about what he wants and try to trip up a scientist who is not media trained. I think he wants to just have moments where he makes the scientists look bad, which, hey, that's my goal in talking to anti-vaccine influencers. But his method of doing it is by not telling the truth, ultimately. And unlike him, I'm open to talking to any anti-vaccine person who wants to, any anti-vaccine influencer who wants to talk to me. Nine out of 10 times. I don't want to say every time because I'm sure there are some anti-vaxxers who I'm like, I don't want to give you the time of day.
I think you kind of mentioned it last call, but and I don't want to hope I don't spoil anything, but I think you were maybe working on a video on Dr. Mike's visit to Jubilee. Is that possibly the next one that you have on your?
Yeah, that's the footage I have that I need to edit.
Cool. Yeah, looking forward to it. I mean, there was definitely some great moments where he was very, good at listening to him, and maybe a good way to just talk with them on a one-to-one basis. But obviously, a lot of those clips got chopped up on X, and it looked really bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
Okay.
Would you ever go on Jubilee?
I think I would. Feasibly, I don't think it would happen because I would have to probably fly out to LA and I don't know if I'd have to take time off work, but I'd ultimately be leaving my wife to take care of the kids by herself. Short answer, yes. I would definitely do it if I could. Because I mean, what I say in the reaction video is I only got through like the first 30 minutes before I had like an hour and a half of footage, and I'm like, okay, I need to stop. And I was frustrated at Mike. He's good at listening, but I think he lets them go on too long, and he doesn't hold them to the topic that they're supposed to be talking about. So yeah, I think that could be done better, and I think I could do that. So yeah, I would. I agree Jubilee's a negative influence, but like it or not, it's super influential. Um, just like Joe Rogan, if I hate that his show is as popular as it is, but if I had the opportunity to go on it, I would, and I would tell him he's a dumb, stupid idiot.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Um, Regarding AFK, or let's say I was an anti-vaxxer and I wanted to convince the public that vaccines are give you autism or what have you, and I cite a fraudulent study or I pay someone to create a fake study that basically suggest that vaccines give you autism. If my goal is to just convince a lay audience who will never actually read scientific literature,
Hmm.
nor are they educated on how vaccines work, and I just deliberately avoid debating people who actually know what they're talking about because they would make me look stupid, wouldn't that just allow me to indefinitely influence the public at that point? Like, if you just make the step of avoiding getting humiliated by people who know
Hmm.
better, can't you just continue to negatively influence people's opinions of vaccines without being stopped?
Yeah, I think that's the approach that a lot of anti-vaxxers take. Um, because RFK Jr. made a big show of wanting to debate Peter Hotez, but I think he knew that Peter Hotez is not a debater and would not debate. They did the same thing with Paul Offit. Paul Offit explicitly says he's not a debate person, and so I think they make a show out of like calling out these people they know are not going to debate, and then they can say like, oh look, I'm open to it, and he doesn't want to do it, but they don't actually want to engage with anybody else. I mean, Dr. Mike specifically called out RFK Jr. Like, I want to have you on my podcast and talk to your face. And as far as I know, that's not happening. So
Because it would be a bad move. He would actually
it would.
make himself look bad. But
Exactly.
like, if they're smart enough to know to avoid debating those people, then how do you stop these people? Because it seems like you basically cannot win if they refuse to make that mistake because they're relying on spreading this information to people who will never ever make the effort to educate themselves on the matter.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a never-ending fight. Like these people are not going to go away. They're going to keep using these tactics where they can just indefinitely drop whatever nonsense they want into the public, and the public will spread it around, and and then people like me have to play catch up, trying to correct whatever nonsense they said.
But there's no way to win
No,
objectively.
no, I don't think there is. That's my perspective on this whole thing. I don't think there's ever a winning point. It's just something you have to keep doing. There constantly needs to be people, science communicators, willing to debunk and address misinformation. It's a never-ending thing. I don't think it's gonna. The win is to have the anti-vaccine movement go back to the way it was in 2012, when it was like fringe, hippie, lefty, crunchy people believing in it, and not mainstream politicians.
Right. That's a bit demoralizing, but I was just curious if there was ever a winning point.
No, yeah, I can see it. It definitely is a little bit demoralizing, but it's something that I've had to like come to terms with. That like there's no winning, there's no end point. Um, Especially, I think I especially came to that conclusion, learning about the history of smallpox vaccines and how there was an anti-vaccine movement back then when smallpox was literally like disfiguring people and killing people at rates that today's vaccine preventable diseases don't do. Um, and so it's like, wow, if there can be misinformation and anti-vaccine movements in an environment like that, we're not going to get rid of them. We just have to like do our best to like contain the outbreak, kind of. So if you have fun with it, if you have fun with debunking, then it's never ending. So that's a upside to it. Um, I personally don't have as much fun now that the anti-vaxxers are in charge of our health administrations, but
Right.
I had a lot more fun with it when I first started.
But you can't. The sad part is that you can't like choose to ignore it either,
Yeah,
because otherwise you end up with people like RFK as the lead of HHS.
exactly. Yep. Yep. You can't ignore it. I've always I've always gotten a little bit of pushback, even back when it must have been like 2018 when I was like interested in doing things more public with like science communication surrounding vaccines, and I would like connect with local science communicators. I lived in Pittsburgh at the time, and I would tell them like, yeah, I think I want to address anti-vaccine misinformation, and they would say, oh well, I think our vaccination rates are pretty good. Like it's not like they were like, oh, we don't need to worry about that. And I thought, well, I think we kind of do.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, there just needs to be more science communicators willing to do it.
I don't think you'd ever. I think that might be a perpetual problem, because I don't think many people who are like interested in science would necessarily want to deal with the publicity
Hmm.
or the internet trolling, or frankly all the stuff that has to deal with that. I think they would rather just focus on studying.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's why people go into science. They want to be in their lab making discoveries. They don't want to be like figuring out the best way to combat some random influencer online who got 2 million views saying that the Earth is flat. Um, that's not in their most of their interest. So yeah, it's tough. It's not a very um, yeah, it's not a very good outlook for a debunker, but it's
But
necessary.
good luck out there. You are definitely doing a great job, a
Thank
great
you.
service at this point.
Thank you. I'm trying. Most of the time now I choose to just like read one of the books on my shelf back here. If I have like extra time that I could use for editing, I'm just like, I want to read a book. Um, yeah, it's my happy place. I've said that before, but I really like to just, it's much more calming than having to listen to my voice over and over again, debunking the same claims in editing software. Not that I hate doing that, it's just reading a book is nice.
Right.
Oh, a super chat. Thank you for watching Joe Rogan so I don't have to. Thank you for falling on that sword for us. Dude, every time I decide I want to do a Rogan episode, I just like take a big sigh of like, oh, I gotta do this again. Because seriously, it's the 3 hour episodes are rough. And then having to like chop it up into segments I want to address. Yeah,
That's gotta be brutal, man.
it is.
That's gotta
But I want to do the Siri episode.
right.
Oh, and I actually have 2 Rogan episodes on my list of videos that I wanted to make this year that I now probably will not finish. The Aaron Siri episode and Peter Duesberg was on Joe Rogan years ago. For those who don't know, Peter Duesberg is a very infamous HIV/AIDS denier. He was a virologist who did good work, and then he just went total like HIV/AIDS denial. And Rogan had him on for a full ass episode and like gushed over him. And it's just
Because of course,
wild to me that like that happened years ago. And like it's crazy. How did so many people listen to that and they were like, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. This guy can keep you know, talking about science stuff.
I mean, you shouldn't speak ill of the dead, but Duesberg, he's gone.
He is gone. Yep. He's dead.
who is?
Peter Duesberg, the HIV/AIDS denier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he died earlier this year, I think. What's your take on Rogan? Is he ignorant or does he know what he's doing? I think he's ignorant. I think he's just a big dummy, honestly. I don't know why he would purposely embarrass himself so many times by like full on believing something only for Jamie to pull something up and he's like, "Oh, what? They lied." Which, you know, he doesn't always admit like, "Oh, what? I was wrong." But I think he's just a big dummy. I think he's very gullible. What has been going on in the chat? I think there are conversations I'm not following. Would I link up with skeptic science communicators again with SGU, Star Talk? I would love to talk to Neil deGrasse Tyson. Sure. SGU people, I met Kara and I always mix up the brothers. Steve is the right? Yeah, Steve's the main guy, like the ringleader. I met him. Steve Novella. They're great. And yeah, I'm open to being on their show if they want to have me. I don't think they don't have guests very often though. Yeah, Kara was really nice to talk to. I felt bad though. I always feel bad at those kinds of conferences because it's like there's the people that everybody wants to talk to, and sometimes when you have a chance to talk to them, you kind of just have to like wait in line to chat with them. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. You're probably so tired of talking to people, but I really just wanted to say hi. uh, did did um did L speak? L dot dot dot. I think they're the only one in the Discord chat who hasn't spoken yet, unless I'm forgetting. You're welcome to speak if you want to. But in the meantime, one thing that really upset me, I think I saw it yesterday. Bill Cassidy did an interview with some news station. I don't care. But he was like, he was asked, "Do you regret letting Kennedy in?" And he was like, "Well, Kennedy told me he wouldn't change ASIP, and so if you expect me to look back through time and expect him to lie, I don't know. I don't know what you want from me." It's like, oh, brother.
You could say yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna make a short form reel about this, but I know for a fact that that guy had multiple conversations with high profile people in the medical and vaccinology fields who told him straight up, like, this dude is a liar. He has a long history of lying about vaccines. He's not gonna do anything good for vaccines, and he's an HIV/AIDS denier, and like all these things I know for a fact he was told, and he just voted anyway. I also know that, like, I was told that in these conversations leading up to the vote, he expressed a lot of anger, and that expressed that basically he didn't want to vote for RFK, that he was hearing all of this, and that he didn't think that he was going to be a good pick. And then it was reported that JD Vance had a meeting with him, and after that he didn't have any more calls with these high profile people I'm talking about, and then he voted yes. So I mean, from my perspective, it's like he took a political deal to win favor with the administration, to be like, okay, I'll let this guy through. And then the dumbass goes and loses his election. So, yeah, he lost his reelection for Senate. And despite, selling his soul and throwing his spine out of his back to let RFK Jr. in, it's really frustrating. I'm so mad at that guy. And I hope the person I'm talking about who spoke to Cassidy a lot in those days leading up to the vote, that that person told me that every time there's a measles outbreak, every measles death, that person will be making sure that Bill Cassidy knows that he is involved in that. But yeah, it's super frustrating. Because if Cassidy had voted no, RFK Jr. would not have even made it to the Senate floor for a confirmation vote. That's all it would have taken, is just one actual medical doctor to not pick politics over people. But he did it anyway. He picked politics over people, and it's so frustrating.
I hope he never sleeps well again.
Yeah, he is, and especially now to be like, oh, well, what did you want me to do? Not believe the guy? Yes.
Look at his damn track record.
What's that?
I said, look at his track record.
Exactly.
I mean, in 2012, he claimed he couldn't pay alimony because he had a brain worm.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that reporting. Yeah, he had brain damage from a worm. Like, oh my God.
Now he's the head of the HHS. Cool. Cool.
Cool, dude.
I hope
Cool,
both
cool,
sides
cool,
still are
cool.
warm.
Yeah.
By the way, that little toke did put a question in the chat.
Who did?
The little toke, the person on mute in the Discord. This is somewhat of a tangent, but when it comes to supplements and nutritional stuff of that kind, how do you tell what is legit and what is not?
Oh, supplements. Well, most of the time, supplements are not necessary. Um, I I know there are situations where supplements are helpful. Like my wife both of her pregnancies, she took prenatal vitamins. I know that that's generally recommended for women to take prenatals during pregnancy. Um, I mean, it's kind of a case by case. I haven't like researched a lot of supplements, but I know that your body and your diet give you most of what you need. Um, so I would just be any advertising of supplements where it's like saying stuff that's too good to be true. Just don't. I would not believe it.
Don't buy anything from Pierre.
Don't buy anything from Pierre. Don't buy anything from McCullough. Don't pay like don't pay like crazy amounts for like some ancient elderly wisdom biotics or whatever. Just uh, like if you have a problem and you talk to your doctor about it and they suggest maybe taking a vitamin for it, then yeah, you can try that.
Yeah, sorry, I can speak now. I'm just
Oh,
missing
hey.
first. But the reason I asked is just because a close family member of mine is like a big like salesperson essentially for supplements. Also happens to be like a huge like anti-vax, and I've noticed there's usually like a correlation between the two.
Yeah, there generally is. Um, yeah, if especially if like there's no research on a brand of vitamins, I wouldn't. I would just say like no, I don't. You don't need that because there are a lot of like brands that are not regulated. Vitamins in general are not regulated, so like you can claim that it's this percent that or whatever when it's not shown to be, and sell it and get away with it. Um, so yeah, sorry, just to with what you were saying, yeah, there's an overlap for sure between like people who sell vitamins and anti-vaccine sentiment for sure. Um, and most of the time, you just don't need them because a lot of times vitamins, um, a lot of the time, your body can only absorb so much in a day, and the rest you pee out. So like if you're already getting enough from your diet, which most people do, you're just gonna pee out your money essentially. And if it but if it's a fat soluble vitamin, that can accumulate in your fat, and if you take too much of it, that can have negative consequences. Um, the classic example is vitamin A. Too much vitamin A can literally melt your skin off. Not fun stories of people trying to eat like polar bear liver and seal liver to survive in the Arctic, and they just get a ton of vitamin A and have some bad stuff happen to them. And yes, vitamin A toxicity was seen after RFK Jr. recommended it as a treatment of measles. God. Well, we're getting it to the end here. We got one anti-vaxxer person earlier. Um, yeah, I made videos. Mostly my videos about Brett Weinstein cover this, but yeah, LNPs and the mRNA and the protein that gets expressed, where they go in the body has all been pretty well studied in rats, monkeys, um, and it it's shown that any measurements of stuff outside like those three areas that I mentioned, the injection site, the liver, and the lymph nodes, it's negligible. Uh, like I think the fourth most common site is the spleen, which is an immune organ. It has B cells in it. Um, so it makes sense for you to find some material there, but the rest is like close to background, negligible. So yeah, and I don't know what he was talking about with. I don't know why people have this idea that spike protein is sharp. Like it's just a
I
protein.
I could not help but think that Scott thinks those are like tiny daggers.
He must think. He must think.
Like, what are you talking about? What's with this sand analogy? Like, it's not abrasive. Like,
No. The sand analogy didn't make any sense to me.
I. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll shut
No, they're
up.
not.
Sorry,
They're not little daggers. It's called the spike protein because it's just like these longish proteins that surround the envelope of SARS-CoV-2. So when you look at it under a electron microscope, it looks like spikes. So that's what they call it, the spike protein. But it's like you have proteins that look like that too. You have like spike-shaped proteins too. They're not sharp. They're not going to like yeah. And I mean, people have looked specifically for spike protein in the heart tissue, and uh, someone posted in the Discord. They say, Dr. Wilson, I think you will need to explain the immune system and the biology of muscles. I don't think he understands what interstitial means. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have used that word. Yeah, interstitial just means like anywhere that's enclosed by tissue, right? Like if you like you have your stomach, and then if you go outside of your stomach, it's like the space between the lining of your stomach and like your abs. I know that's not necessarily how anatomy works, but like that space is an interstitial space. And like when you inject into muscle tissue, it's a bunch of fibers, right? Your muscles are like tightly wound fibers. And injecting into like a big mass of like, think of it as tightly wound ropes. The liquid is going like in between those ropes. It's not going like directly into the bloodstream. And so that liquid is just going to hang out there for a while. Like it gets absorbed into the bloodstream over a period of time. But like before most of it gets into the blood, immune cells are going to rush there. That's the redness, that's the inflammation, that's immune cells doing their job. I don't know if that guy is still around listening, but like that's maybe a more clear explanation. But yeah, my videos about Brett Weinstein go over like all the data about from back before COVID vaccines, even like people figuring out like where does this go, how is it expressed, like all of that was asked, and investigated and answered. Anyway, I'll take one last look at the chat here, and while I do that, I'll say that this is my last day off of the summer, so I don't know when the next live stream will be. I would like to do it again soon, but I don't know when I'll get a chance. So, sorry about that. For now, we got one anti-vaxxer out of 3 shows, so that's something. And I've enjoyed talking to you all. This is a nice time.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. Please say that's a real protein. What? Sonic in the embryo? Sonic Hedgehog is a real protein. That's what someone decided to name a protein. A graduate student. Yeah.
That's awesome. Please tell me it's blue, or it shows the blue in spectrographs.
You can make it blue. You can attach a
That'd be great.
blue. You can attach a blue fluorescent protein to it.
Oh, that's great.
I forget why. I forget the story of why it's called Sonic Hedgehog protein. There's a story behind it. My favorite story of protein names are the SMAD proteins. They are God, I need to remember what they do. They're signal transduction factors, involved in TGF beta signaling. But the name SMAD is a play on MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. But it was discovered, these proteins were characterized and discovered in a strain of fruit fly that were what's called decapentaplegic, so they 5 legs that don't work. And so it's Mothers Against God, I lost the room. Mothers Against Decapentaplegic genes. That's what they named it after.
That's great.
Yeah.
Who says scientists don't have a sense of humor?
They do. Yeah. Graduate students before their souls get crushed, they have a sense of humor.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, you still have a good outlook on things.
Yeah.
Looks like someone else just joined the Discord. I don't know if you want to take a look.
Oh, Dr. Worm. Yeah, we can hear from you if you want before we head out here.
Yeah, it looks like I missed most of this one, unfortunately.
That's okay. You've got a kid, right? So you got more important
I'm
things
feeding her right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just wanted to give a brief update on the cyclospore outbreak, but it's kind of super hard to navigate. It's gotten to that point where there's a lot of like FDA involvement stuff and confusion going on. So I don't actually know the whole story anymore. For a while, it looked like it was Taylor Farms. I think it's Taylor Farms or some of their the farms associated with that brand. But then they said that was a false positive. But then there seems to be some kind of possible meddling going on. And it seems like this brand has had some issues in the past, so it's kind of just all over the place right now.
Eesh.
But yeah, and then there was a screwworm outbreak in Mexico. I saw some news reports saying that it's hit. I think 500 people were impacted this year by it, so not good in Mexico. In Mexico, that is.
Yeah,
where it's been
not great.
endemic for the last year or two. So
Oh,
not good stuff. Yeah, sorry to being bad news this time, but
it's been a poopy, screwy, smoky summer already. So
oh yes, very hot too. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I've been confused on that too. I mean, I don't follow it closely, but like little updates I see, I'm like, what is going on? It's very confusing.
Yeah, I've been following it somewhat closely, and it's gone to the point where I'm like, this is getting into the realm of politics, and I'm beginning to lose the thread of the conversation in a sense.
Yeah, it's confusing to me too, and I was also concerned the other week when I saw that at my local grocery store, all the Taylor Farms is gone, but like it's been replaced by generic, like grocery store brand generic bags that look identical. And I'm like, what is the deal here? Are they allowed to like repackage that? What is going on?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And then I think Taylor Farms also had a jalapeno outbreak linked to, was it E. coli or Salmonella?
Okay.
Specifically with Chipotle. There's been a lot of like recent like recalled foods in the last month, so it's just kind of crazy right now. It's almost like you shouldn't cut parts of the FDA that are responsible for monitoring things. Who would have guessed? But
Ish.
you know, we probably saved $12, so totally worth it. You know.
Whoopee.
The foods we can't afford will give us diarrhea. Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. $12.
Better than Ozempic.
I can buy like 4 McChickens.
I assume you talked about the splitting of the MMR vaccine already.
I haven't. No. It's been. We had one anti-vaxxer earlier and other stuff to talk about, and I honestly forgot about the splitting of the MMR. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how much power the executive order actually has. Like, if they can compel pharma companies to actually split them, which would be a huge undertaking. It's not like they'd have to separately
change all the production lines.
Yeah, they'd have to separately manufacture each one, and like it just is like it's so crazy that in the same press conference they're like, oh, there's so much vaccine, it's like for a horse, it's the size of a soda bottle. And then they're like, you know what, let's split this one vaccine into 3 separate shots, so your kid is getting, instead of one shot that protects against 3 diseases, or if it's the MMRV, 4 diseases, let's split them all up so they get 3 separate shots per disease.
Of the same size.
Yeah,
It's
because it's all going to be like
insane.
0.5 mil injections.
Well, the whole point is just to make people not get as many vaccines.
Yeah.
Like that's the root cause, is to incentivize them. Like, oh, now you have to make 9 doctor's visits instead of 3.
Right.
Oh, the pharma companies make even less money doing it because now they need to like change all their organizational structures around it, and they probably have to do a bunch of repeat testing for FDA approvals and things like that. So it's just gonna be costly to do these things that have already been approved, and they'll have to keep manufacturing the original like formula for like other countries that don't have absurd standards.
Yeah.
And then like pediatricians are going to be hurt by this, because I remember seeing a few years ago, I think it was on Twiv, they covered with a pediatrician that like vaccination is not like profitable for most pediatricians, or maybe I saw a news article
No,
that
it's
I
not.
read about this, in that like most pediatricians lose money through vaccination because the rate they charge per hour is less than what they make by giving vaccines. And if they have to give triple the amount of vaccine appointments now, they're going to functionally lose money through vaccination programs. So it's just, yeah, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean that's the strategy that RFK Jr. is taking. It's to make it more complicated and more convoluted and expensive for everybody to administer and receive vaccines, until the point where what he hopes is that number one, insurance companies won't cover it, because if the federal government recommends separate shots based on no evidence, there's a possibility that insurance won't cover it. So he has to have the insurance companies and pharma and pediatricians all go along with it, which I think will not happen. I don't think, because pharma is going to lose money through it. Insurance companies are going to lose money, because if a lot of people stop vaccinating, then they're going to get sick more often, go to the hospital, and insurance companies are going to have to cover more. They're going to have to pay out more. So it's in insurance companies' best interest to get people vaccinated, and that's always been their position. That's why they cover most vaccine costs.
I wrote an article about vaccine coverage. It was that I published in like a small little op-ed thing. And it's pragmatic papers, and it's really about how to address the rise in all these anti-vaxxers from like a financial standpoint. Because I just crunched some of the basic numbers for the 2025 measles outbreak alone, and I think there's about 2,000 cases. And when you crunch all the numbers, the statistics show that like about 1 in 5 kids will have to go to the hospital if they catch measles. Just like that's the average rate. And measles hospitalization for a child is on average about $43,000.
Yes.
So like when there's only like a handful of cases a year, this isn't really a burden on the system. But when when numbers start falling below thresholds, which they are in many states now, I think the average vaccine rate for MMR in certain states is like 93%, which is below the protection threshold. We're going to start getting hundreds, like tens of thousands of cases. It's going to become quite the financial burden. The point of the article was to talk about like how insurance companies should start charging like premiums for unvaccinated people, because you can't deny people coverage, because that's cruel, but like they're going to be extracting extra resources from the system, so they should pay more into it. Was kind of just like how to approach it from a not forcing people to get vaccinated standpoint. But it's insane. Like $43,000 for what could be a $15 shot. Like insane calculus.
Yeah, we we had to take one of our kids to the hospital for RSV. I think I've told this story before. This is years ago. Both kids are fine. But it was so expensive. It was like a 4-day hospital stay. My God, it was like, it broke our bank. It's crazy. With insurance, with insurance payouts, it still was so expensive.
Yeah, that's insane.
And it's like
that
was
upsetting.
and that was like the only respiratory virus that we weren't able to protect our kid from that year, because my wife had gotten COVID and flu shots during her pregnancy. So
Mhm.
the child was theoretically protected against those.
Yeah,
But
active antibodies.
and we wanted to get Beyfortus, the monoclonal antibody shot for RSV, for our kid, but the he was too big at his pediatrician's visit for the dose they had. They only had the low dose vials, and he was like just a few ounces above the threshold to give the low dose. She was literally the pediatrician was literally like, "Do you think he'll poop?" And we're like, "He literally did before we came here." And she's like, "Okay, well, we can't give it to him today, but he'll probably be fine, and he's a healthy weight." And literally a week later, he got RSV, and
Oh my god, that's awful. Hey,
it sucked. It sucked so much. But
uh,
like I said, everyone's healthy now. Everyone's fine. Anyway,
yeah, I'm going to talk to my pediatrician about getting MMR slightly earlier if possible, just because the current outbreak and I'm worried about availability going away.
yeah, I mean, our kids are covered, but I mean, we're in Pennsylvania, and yeah, there's talk. I've heard talk with parents around here about like, should we get the MMR sooner? And when there's an outbreak, it's not a terrible idea. All right, we're getting late. I have to walk my dog and then go pick up my kids soon. I did see in the uh, a super chat. RFK is just trying to achieve Wakefield's goals. Yeah, pretty much. I saw someone said, "Can I respond to this?" They say, "What are your thoughts on the new proposed legislation that implements new requirements for research grants to be aligned with the administration agenda in order to get funding?" That's the OBM grant or OBM bill, which basically makes it so that the administration can appoint people who have the final say on whether or not grants get funded. So the way it works now is at the NIH and the NSF, researchers write grants, submit them, and those grants are reviewed by select subcommittees of their peers, experts in their relevant fields. So grant reviewers will basically review the grants, rank them, and based on the ranks, like funding will be doled out until like there's a cutoff of like, this is all the money we have, and these grants didn't make the cut. And that's the way it goes now. But with this bill, a political appointee would be able to say, "Oh, I don't like that research. We're not actually going to fund it," which would be batshit insane. That would be crazy. It'd be literally Lysenkoism. I don't have time to go into Lysenkoism, but it's crazy. And I think OBM has hit a stalling point, but it's not dead yet, is my understanding. Yeah. This live stream should be available to watch later. Yes. If it's not, just like email me. I don't respond. I know I'm bad about responding to all my emails, but I'll try to fix it if there's a problem. Anyway, yeah, this was nice, guys. I've enjoyed having these during my days off this summer. Like I said, I don't have any more days off this summer, so I'll do this again when I can, hopefully soon.
Yeah, this is fun, man. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you all for showing up.
and I enjoy this.
Yeah,
It
thanks
was a lot of
Dr.
fun.
Worm for filling us in.
I have a spiel on alpha gal syndrome next time too. That's my next video topic. So I just did all the research on
Nice.
the tick red meat disease. Pretty interesting stuff.
Okay, I will watch that. Yeah. And if you ever want to make a video together, maybe this just came to me, but the whole Lyme disease is a whole Lyme disease is lab made thing. That might be
Yeah.
fun. That might be fun to work on together someday.
Yeah, I'm open to it. You
Okay.
let me know your timelines and availability, and I'll try to fill in where I can.
Yeah, I'll just throwing that out there. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for showing up. This has
And
been
bud,
fun. Thank you for the super chats. I appreciate it. I'll produce more content as I can. But yeah, if you have topics you want me to cover, email me, message me. Hopefully, I'll see them. Otherwise, take care. My dog is already getting up and shaking because he somehow knows that I'm about to get up and walk him. So I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good weekend, everyone. See ya.